Hey everyone, I'm Father Alexander Har.
And I'm Father David Marshall, and this is the humility, God's secret to happiness. It is a very special program that we've created, a 5-week gospel study that at the end of it, you will be more attractive and have and lose 10 pounds.
That may not be a guarantee we can offer.
It's not, but you'll lose 10 pounds of all sorts of internal stuff that we've been carrying around with us. And Jesus will have us let go of.
Once again, maybe no guarantees, but we will think that you will enjoy this.
I think you'll enjoy it. And whether you are listening to this on a beach, whether you're driving somewhere, or this is a Bible study at your home church, you are all welcome here. And Alex and I are excited to talk to you about these 5 gospel lessons coming up that finish up our program here.
Yeah. Now, the format that we're going to use is we have some thoughts at the beginning about some trends that we're noticing either in the church or in the world. We're also going to introduce some scripture. And with these 5 weeks of scripture, which lead up to Christ the King, right, you're going to notice a trend that maybe you haven't identified before, but we think is there. And that's kind of our hypothesis that we're going to run with. And then at the end, we are going to have some discussion questions for you. They'll be posted in the description, but you can always download the ebook, just like last time, by going to stjohndivine.com/bridge, where you can download all of the episodes as well as get them on YouTube.
So you ready to dive right into it?
I am ready to dive right in, but
let's do this.
Before we do that, let's give a shout out here of our location.
Oh, interesting. So notice Alex and I are next to each other. We're not actually recording 2 separate locations. It's my favorite. Look, I can actually touch him. Isn't that cool? And our knees been hitting the entire time.
Exactly.
So,
and neither one of us are holograms because we are at the Cathedral Church of St. Peter.
Yep.
And we're giving a shout out to Mother Michelle Robertshaw, who is the provost here, who has taken mercy and pity upon us and our podcast and said, you can film right here for the next few hours. And it was an easy drive for me. I live in St. Pete.
Right.
You made the sacrifice.
Not as easy for me, right? Yeah. We also have taken her office over. So she took her laptop and left. So
right. So we are thankful for her sacrifice. We're thankful for the people here at the cathedral. They're always very helpful. So let's dive right in.
Good. You make me happy.
Well,
I should start there. That our friendship, our relationship makes me happy. But I have been reading a lot about happiness, and that the whole sphere of, oh, that's fantastic.
And that's called a notification because you have to put on Do Not Disturb.
Sure.
But that's the test to know that we were doing this live.
Good. All right. Shall we keep going?
Yeah.
All right. Good. We're doing things live.
Yeah.
The recent articles have talked about happiness. And do you think that happiness in America is increasing, or do you think we are becoming less and less happy?
I don't think this is a hot take in any way, shape, or form to say that I think happiness in America is decreasing, or in some cases, I think it may have gone off a cliff for some people.
Yes. And speaking of going off a cliff, there are agencies that measure happiness. And the United States is not number 2 or number 3 in the world. We are number 24 in happiness in the world. And it's a trend that started in the 90s. And our gross domestic product, all of that has been increasing since then. But we have becoming more and more unhappy, not necessarily as a result. It just means that perhaps money doesn't buy happiness.
I have been told that it can rent it for a long time, but I have not been told that it can actually purchase happiness. So
no.
But some people think you can rent it, or at least lease it via credit card.
Okay, good. So since we're talking about happiness, and we will be talking about humility, and because humility is God's secret to achieving happiness, but I want to make sure we're talking the same thing.
Yeah.
And so when you think of happiness, what do you think?
I separate happiness from other emotions or other qualities because I think of happiness as fleeting. I think of happiness as something that very much depends on what's happening to me in the moment.
Okay.
Whereas joy and contentment and wholeness are things that come from God. Happiness tends to come from, the external part of things, but within me, where God is present, that is where I think those other things come from.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I had a poster in my room growing up that said, happiness is a choice.
And I agree with
Yeah,
that. I
that
agree
we
with that.
there are things we can do to increase our happiness. There
Mhm.
are certainly things we can do that make us unhappy.
Right.
And so, one way to look at happiness is to talk about fulfillment
Mhm.
and a lack of desire for external things. Okay.
Right. So are you talking about kind of reflecting on what fulfills us?
Right.
And should we be having these intense desires all the time for things?
Well, Jesus would say no, we
Right.
shouldn't,
Yeah, we
and
shouldn't.
that there are specific things we can do to release us. And we will be going through each one of those
Mhm.
over the next 5 weeks. With Jesus, happiness begins with humility. Humility creates a sense of gratitude.
Okay.
Gratitude will lead you to a place of resilience, and resilience will help you with an authentic life, no matter what's going on in and around. This type of resilience that comes from gratitude, which comes from humility, is what brings us to happiness. And I know, folks, this might sound kind of confusing, but we're going to be spending time talking more about that. Um, so, when I originally had said, and it'll become more attractive and lose weight, um, part of that I actually mean that people are attracted to humble, open, mindful, caring, authentic people. That is an attractive quality in our world. And if you're more interested in developing that sense,
I am going to disagree.
with what?
The idea that people are naturally attracted to humble people. I think that there are people who are attracted to that, and there are people who recognize that and say, "I want to be like that
Okay.
person." But I think more and more we're running into situations where we don't know what to do when we see humility, authentic humility,
Okay.
because it might be tied up in aspects of faith, as we're talking about here.
Hmm.
And so I think that people might reject humility or reject people who are humble because they don't know what to do with it. They recognize they themselves are not humble.
Hmm.
So I think whenever we talk about something good, it's very hard for me to say that we as humans automatically run to it.
Mm. Could you say it's our twisted, sinful nature that makes us
That's what I'm saying.
wondering?
That's
Right.
that's what
Okay.
I'm saying. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. So when I see people who are humble,
Mhm.
I say to myself, I want to be like that person. I wish I was that humble.
Mhm.
But sometimes that feeling can also be jealousy and envy.
Well,
And
there's
so I
that.
have to be careful in terms of what are the natural emotions that are going to propagate.
Right.
So
Right.
so just I wanted to clarify that. And are we going to define humility?
We will in a moment, because
Okay.
this is leading us directly into our first gospel lesson,
All
that
right.
Jesus will tell you a story of two different people and how they react. And we're then going to read this story, and we're going to break it down in the sense of humility and eventually getting to happiness as well.
I agree. I agree.
So we have this one entitled Two Jews Walk into the Temple. Okay?
Okay.
Because Jesus set this up, and now people can disagree. Jesus, I believe, made jokes. And this sounds like one of those, like two priests walk into a bar. It
Ow.
has that approach. It was a style in the first century of humor. So,
Yeah.
but Luke phrases it with this, that Jesus told a parable to some who trusted in themselves
Mhm.
that they were righteous. So, would you like to
And
read it?
and not just that they were righteous, but regarded others with
Yeah,
contempt.
well, we have to throw that in
I'm
there.
saying that
Yes,
is going to be
yes,
very important to our story
yes.
today.
Almost like those two things were tied together. Somebody has a sense of self-righteousness.
And
That also means they regard
others
others
with
with
contempt.
contempt.
So let me go ahead and read this. So two men went up to the temple to pray. This is Luke 18:9 through 14. Two men went up to the temple to pray, one a Pharisee and the other a tax collector. The Pharisee, standing by himself, was praying thus: God, I thank you that I'm not like other people, thieves, rogues, adulterers, or even like this tax collector. I fast twice a week. I give a tenth of all my income. But the tax collector, standing far off, would not even look up to heaven, but was beating his chest and saying, God, be merciful to me, a sinner. I tell you, the second man went down to his home justified rather than the other. For all who exalt themselves will be humbled, but all who humble themselves will be exalted. And here endeth the lesson.
Nice. Thank you. Good. We have two men. One guy walks up to the front. Thank you, Lord. I'm not like other people.
Yep.
Especially that guy back there.
Yeah.
And that guy back there is like, I'm not even looking up. Have mercy on me. Have mercy on me, a sinner. Now, the interesting thing about this parable is that Jesus is painting two distinct, different personalities, which, if you know anything about the jokes about a carpenter, a fisherman, and a fireman walk into a bar, right, that they're all caricatures, that it's not like somebody that we know. It takes an aspect of somebody and makes it much more.
It makes it more hyperbole,
Right.
because there are people who may be practicing some of this, but Jesus is trying to show that the person who is striving, the Pharisee is the one who strives to be like this.
Yes.
That's their end goal,
Yes.
is to be like, well, wait a minute, I do want to be like that guy. I want to give a tenth of my income.
Right.
I want to fast twice a week. So what's wrong with this being like this Pharisee?
What's wrong with that? What's wrong is, I thank you that I'm not like other people.
Right. And here is where I think, in the modern sense, I think it sounds kind of like this. People will say, well, I know that I'm a sinner, but at least I'm not like this other guy.
Sure. And we do that all the time.
Right.
Yes.
But I think the comparisons are constant in the life of the church.
What do you mean?
Well, what I mean is that if you're not careful in your spiritual or your faith community, you can have a situation where a person says, well, I look around and I'm the one who shows up all the time. I'm the one who is on this committee. I'm the one who is cleaning up. I'm the one who's doing these things. Where is everybody else? And thinking that because we do that, it makes us, in fact, more righteous than the other people.
Okay. I see that. There has been no Pharisee that has walked into the temple and has said this. That this isn't like, oh yeah, he's talking about Joe. This is an extreme version. And likewise, the tax collector standing far off, not looking up to heaven and saying, God be merciful to me, a sinner. Again, these are two drastic examples where all of humanity, you and me, we fit somewhere in between.
In the spectrum of that.
These two people. And what Jesus is doing is telling a story about which one of these two men is actually happier with their life when they walk back down to their home. The one who is asking for forgiveness and saying, I'm not worthy, or the one who's like, I'm glad I'm better than everybody.
Well, I think it's not a direct appeal to which one was happier.
Okay.
I think it was a direct appeal about which one was justified. And justified is that when we stand before God, that we are truly in right relationship with God, which leads to happiness. I think the question here is, which of these individuals was more humble?
Sure.
Right.
Can I lean on that for just a moment?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. There is no justification before God.
Well,
none. There's nothing we can say in front of God that will make it better. What we say is, have mercy on me. Jesus came to save sinners, and I believe in him. It's not through my own will or my own mercy. It is through God's mercy, right? That's the only justification at the judgment seat is, I am not worthy.
Well, I agree with that. But what I'm saying here is that when Jesus is talking to this group here, the only way they understood justification was in one of these two ways.
Correct. That they follow the law, they did everything perfect, and that's justification.
Right. Or they humble themselves. Right. And so here, I think we're saying the same thing, but what I want to talk about here is saying, I tell you, the second man went down to his home justified because he recognized that he was not able to save himself. He recognized that he was a sinner. And I think that is the basic thing. He didn't fix anything in his relationship with God. He didn't make himself a more righteous person. He recognized his sinfulness, which is the key to humility. So the first guy was not justified because there was no humility.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So this brings us up to the last sentence, which I think is the point of this. And that is, Jesus said, all who exalt themselves will be humbled. The all there is an emphatic all. Yes. It's not just, most, a bunch of people. No,
kind of
all who. So we don't give guarantees. Jesus is giving a guarantee. I guarantee you, all who exalt themselves will be humbled. I also guarantee you that all who humble themselves will be exalted.
So I have two questions here,
Okay.
and I think I'm probably not going to be the only one who asks this. Who is doing the exalting and who's doing the humbling? So this is what I mean by that.
Oh, that's interesting.
All who exalt themselves. So if I'm exalting myself,
yes,
I'm going to be humbled. Well, who's humbling me? God. Right? People think, well, the world is going to humble you. No, it's God who humbles us. But if I humble myself, God will exalt me. And I think we start to get into, within this life and within eternity, the understanding that the humility that we have right now, that we have that wonderful hymn, laying our crowns before thee, right? That God will actually give us a crown, in eternity, because we've humbled ourselves and said, I'm not sitting on your throne, God. You are the one who is on the throne. You are king of all creation in the universe. And because of that, you will actually give me a crown eventually.
Okay. I like that. I've told this story before. I will say it again. I was walking by a Wells Fargo and I noticed this brand new convertible Porsche had pulled up, and the guy got out with his very fancy Land's End collar jacket sticking up. He was really, really happy. And, when somebody would, lock their car and they do one of these things, and he's looking at it. And just then, a Lamborghini, the one that looks pink, but it's actually purple when the sun shines on it. It has a pink.
Yes.
It is like, it attracts attention like crazy. It pulled up next to his car, and then both Gulf wings opened up. And the guy with the Porsche, just suddenly his shoulders dropped, and then he just walked into.
He was humbled.
He was humble. That yes, if we exalt ourselves, God does the humbling. But there are also times in life when, no matter how much money somebody has earned, somebody has more than you.
And so I want to bring this back to what you were talking about at the beginning, which I think we should always do in talking about not just this text, but what you started with. Happiness smells like competition in our world.
Oh, yeah.
Who can be the happiest? Yeah. Who can have the most notoriety? Who can have the most fame? Who can have the most wealth? I see a great deal, because I spend a lot of time analyzing and studying social media, especially for young people. And the messages that they're getting is more is always better. Work on yourself, which isn't a bad thing. We should be working on ourselves. But, we work on ourselves in order to achieve the goal of proving to others how great we are. Or that we have more than them, or that we can have a Bugatti, or go to Dubai, or all, these things that have become the touch points in our society that demonstrate happiness. And when I listen to these individuals, I can tell they're not happy. They say, I am the happiest I have ever been. But there's a hollowness in their voice that you can see that's hollow in their soul. Now, the people who I envy a great deal are individuals who don't have a lot and they share it. I have wonderful stories of people who have shown me tremendous hospitality because they shared not from their abundance, but from their scarcity. And it's humbled me. So I think always coming back to that and making sure that we're understanding that the humbleness that's taking place in this story is just the beginning.
It is just the beginning. That from the story, we get this three-pronged approach. That humbling oneself before God involves recognizing our dependence upon God. Often, especially with economic growth, we think that we're dependent solely by ourselves and that we're not dependent on anybody else. We're still independent on God. So humbling oneself is to recognize one's dependence on God. Acknowledging our shortcomings. And so that's what this guy in the back of the temple, like, have mercy on me, I'm a sinner, like acknowledging our shortcomings. And then the last step is actively seeking to align our life with God's will.
Yeah.
So actively seeking to align our life with the will that God has for us.
So we're now going to turn this over to you, if that's okay. I'm going to turn this over to you who are watching to look at the questions that are in your guidebook. Look at the questions that are really good discussion points. But if you've got your own, jump in there. But go ahead and read that text again, read some of these notes. And now's the time to start. And we're going to catch you when we film the next one, which will be shortly. But for you, it'll be another week.
So thank you for journeying with us. God bless.